Welcome to the bold analysis. I want to speak to one man, Raila Odinga. Raila is a politician who knows the strategy. Raila is the politician who will consolidate the best squad. But that one terminal blunder that makes him miss the last shot. And I want to explain that sentence by this scenario. In the run-up to 2022 general elections, the BBI constitutional reform was the plan A for Raila Odinga to have a good presidential shoot. But immediately the court stopped it. He quickly transitioned to that Azimio Umoja. In just 1 year to the general election, he had a campaign vehicle to campaign and mount a presidential contest against William Ruto, against a candidate who had been campaigning for the last 4 years. And of all other things, William Ruto had said so bad things and had really run a successful smear campaign against Uhuru and Raila throughout that BBI, and he quickly transitioned and just made it all the way to the last day of the general election. William Ruto was still talking ill of BBI, was still using BBI to attack Uhuru and Raila. And so what am I saying now? As we speak now, Uhuru Kenyatta has held closed-door meetings twice with Raila Odinga. And Uhuru is warning Raila Odinga and asking Raila that have a strong stand against the NADCO report, reject the NADCO report in total. Reject the NADCO report because of 3 reasons. Number 1, it has failed to address the cost of living. Number 2, it has failed. Ruto is trapping you on the electoral body. And number 3, 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. And I want to just add something on that. You know, the 2 meetings Uhuru has held with Raila has come amidst reactions from different sectors. And there is something that, according to me, Uhuru sees that Raila is seeing it, but seems to be, you know, I've always said that the circle around Raila Odinga has been a selfish circle. You know, a circle that can't, you know, they just look at what is now. What do we have now? Are we eating now? That is the only point. They find just ways of circumnavigating around and find the way they can get themselves in the table to eat. But they're no longer, they're not long-sighted. And so, I want to say, and I don't want to contradict myself, because I think in the past I've always said that it is wrong for Martha Karua to blame the NADCO report on Raila. And I still maintain, you cannot blame the failure of the committee to put the cost of living on Raila Odinga. You can't blame it on Raila Odinga. And what I believe is that while I support the stand to reject the report, what is wrong, or what I do not take, is a second wave of protests. Because we have seen how Ruto is ruling with an iron fist. Any attempt to protest is going to turn to an ethnic profiling scheme. The police will be meted and Raila Odinga supporters, because mostly it's Raila support. It is Raila that has the fanatical supporters that can heed the call to protest. And so, the cost of living is one of the reasons why people went to the protest. And I know, and I think this is what even Uhuru Kenyatta is seeing, that when Raila agrees to this document and it is signed somewhere, I've seen the one for the CDF has been signed by the Assembly, by the President. You know, we were talking about the CDF. William Ruto has gone ahead and signed some bill on CDF so that to increase, allocation on bursary. There is that which go for bursary. See if there is part that goes for bursary and there is a part that goes for development. Now, the bursary has been increased from 35% to 40%. And Ruto is just running accolades, just trying to run positive accolades on that. And so, Uhuru Kenyatta knows very well that Ruto team will run a smear campaign propaganda against Raila Odinga because people shall have gone protest and that is not addressed. That is the political win that William Ruto wants to use against Raila Odinga. That's number one. Number two, the electoral body. And I know very well that this matter is very strong. What Raila will do and should do today, from today to the last day of 2027 campaigns, is to put Ruto on the accountability line. Just that. Just that. As we speak now, the cost of fuel has dropped by 5 shillings, which is 2.1%, while the prices at the global stage seems to have dropped by 32%. Those are the questions that Raila needs to put to the public. Why is it that you are reducing it by 5 shilling and it has reduced by 32%? Why is 32% at the global stage at 2% at the pump? That is the question. And I liked the moment he even said, before the prices were reduced downwards, he said, you know what, we expect the prices to drop by 50 shillings. It's not magic. When Uhuru left, it was at 140. So even if you hike everything, surely, it cannot still be at 200. And Ruto is very skilled. He knows very well that now, he's dropping it because the consumption will go low. The consumption low, this is a festive season. And what people do, people that normally drive home will not drive. You will not see those guzzlers home. If the price of petrol is up, they will not spend. They will just stay in Nairobi here or opt to use the public means, the easy coach and the guardians going home. So people already, they know, and that is why government did it intentionally. Reducing that is not even on the pressure. No, they're looking at what will be the expenditure pattern, what will be the consumption pattern in December. In December, most fueling is for luxury and pleasure activities, which can be avoided when the price is up. And of course, looking at how the consumption had reduced in the last 1 month. So they're just looking at it. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe on what Uhuru Kenyatta is telling Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga should not lose the last shot. I'm looking at that document. The two wins is the creation of those 2 offices, which is a trap. Raila has an office. Yes. ODM party is the second largest party in the country. There is a political party funding that needs to go to the parties, and that money is not coming. And that money is supposed to support political activities. Who is telling Raila that William Ruto will give money to that office of the opposition leader, apart from paying the office space and fueling the cars there and paying some few staff, which will also be reduced? Instead of even pushing this, you should then ask William Ruto just to obey what is in the constitution instead of fighting for this. It's already the constitution that parties are supposed to get a percentage from the exchequer that is supposed to fund political parties. UDA is running activities across the country using money, taxpayers' money, when the government has failed to bankroll political parties so that they can stifle the political party activities. And that is why I'm saying Raila must maintain the accountability line from now to the last day of 2027 elections. I don't know how else that should be said. That is why when Uhuru is saying, reject this thing, Uhuru is quiet in his space. And there is something Uhuru is saying that I know many of us and some politicians might not see. And I want us to get it there. Let me tell you, in the Azimio coalition, there is something that William Ruto knows. William Ruto knows very well that he has already bought Jubilee MPs. There are only some 4 or 5 remaining within Jeremiah Kioni access. Then William Ruto knows that ODM party has the many numbers. And he knows very well that the axis is Raila Odinga. And so that man on target is Raila. He's not bothered about Karua, Karua, Kioni, Eugene Wamalwa. William Ruto is bothered about 2 gentlemen. He's not even bothered about Kalonzo. He's bothered about Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. And he's now targeting Raila. Now, the flip-flopping about NADCO has caused more harm. Look at, immediately, Mutua, this guy from Kambani said that those who feel uncomfortable about NADCO should leave. He said it, and it was like, it came out like a position of Raila because it was a Raila Odinga spokesperson. What happened? The next day, this report came out that there was a fake letter emerged that ODM is leaving Azimio. Look at it. So, Raila Odinga must know that UDA, Ruto is a propagandist. Is a man that survives, breathes, and sleeps on propaganda. Everything. Even himself runs on propaganda. So, I don't really believe. And Raila should just know, Ruto doesn't have the spirit of this report. This report, just while this discussion is going on, Azimio replaced Sabina Chege with Mark Mwenje as Deputy Minority Whip. As we speak today, Sabina Chege is still enjoying the perks of that office. So, what else do Raila want to see from William Ruto? It is very clear that William Ruto is playing games. Before I explain some few things that Uhuru Kenyatta is seeing on Ruto's side that Raila seems not to be seeing, I want you to have just have a look at a reaction from different leaders on this issue of NADCO.
While concluding on the NADCO report, we want to say it has nothing to alleviate the suffering of citizens, but it offers goodies to the leadership. This is totally unacceptable. It is a fraud upon Kenyans. It should be frowned upon and totally rejected. That is the verdict of NARC Kenya. It is a distracting national smokescreen. Yes. We are aware that some of our partners may see some good in it. But we say this. One, unfortunately, the findings confirm that the committee was formed by the unwilling, that is the Kenya Kwanza, and was intended to buy time. We remain an integral part of the Azimio coalition, which is a democratic coalition with room for divergent views. Therefore, NARC Kenya boldly presents its views and unapologetically so.
Now, Uhuru is asking Raila Odinga, step back and reject this report in total for these 3 reasons. I know the 1 man 1 shilling was not there, but that is a political tool that Raila can use for Mount Kenya. Or even if not Raila, but Kalonzo Musyoka can use for Mount Kenya. It is indeed, I support the decision to fall back in ODM party and rebrand the ODM party and run with the ODM party. But this is the truth. You cannot win the presidential election through ODM party. You cannot. I support, yes, you can, this Azimio should be disbanded because first it is what was used in the last general election. The composition has changed. The word Azimio was bringing together. Now, some people have left. You are seeing like Atuoli, and some fellows seems to have shifted. So Azimio cannot be Azimio because if you carry this to the next general election, it is the Azimio that will be under attack. That sasa, si wana nani wametoka. Ruto will be telling them, wana nani ametoka. Yes, Azimio bado iko. So it must form another house. But Raila Odinga, this is what I believe is Uhuru's view on William Ruto. And I've chosen the direction of Uhuru's view because Uhuru worked with William Ruto for 10 years. When election in 2017 was pushed out, Uhuru is on record, Ruto is on record saying that Uhuru wanted to leave, but Ruto forced him on this. So there is that which Uhuru knows about William Ruto. And this is what I say. Number one, Kenyans should understand, and Raila Odinga should know. If Ruto loses the 2027 general election on the ballot, he will hand over. Let me tell you, he will hand over power. You know, this is what, there is a lie and some fear that has been sold and created that, you know, Ruto must serve 10 years. That has been created. Number one is, sasa, kama, if Uhuru Kenyatta never made Raila the president, do you think Ruto can leave power? Yes, he can leave. Let me tell you something, I've been taking it and I've been analyzing it myself. Do you know that Uhuru Kenyatta was closest to the military, even to the last general election? Do you know? Do you know? He was closest to the military. And even allegedly sent Tuju and the current now Ogola, who was the vice. He did not send Kibochi. He did not send Kibochi. Why? And someone was telling me that, Kevin, military doesn't meddle with the transition. And if Ruto is to lose, the military will go and tell him, hand over power. And that is why the country and Azimio supporters should appreciate, instead of even attacking Uhuru Kenyatta, they should appreciate the fact that Uhuru Kenyatta handed over power, because there is something that comes. At appropriate time, Ruto will do the same. I don't know, and let me tell you, if Ruto is to lose 2027 general election, he will hand over power. Simple reason, Uhuru handed over. Uhuru was a president in 10 years, was deep entrenched. There have been stories about, I don't know, deep state, he did have deep state and all of that. Forget about that thing. In this country, we already have a precedence, and Uhuru did well by giving us that precedence. If Ruto is to lose, not even these Western envoys, who tells you that these Western envoys, they will not force it on sovereign? It was very easy for this one because of the gap. And that is why Uhuru Kenyatta insists that let's just put Ruto on toes. Someone should not lie to Raila Odinga that Ruto cannot hand over power. How? Why? Why? You know, he's just been in power for 5 years. Do you want to tell me he has so much great that cannot be left? He can hand over power. That is something that Uhuru knows. That if Kalonzo or Raila defeats Ruto in 2027, Ruto will hand over. Many people have been told about violence and all that. Ruto have also gone through ICC and knows very well. Number two, the election rigging. This is something that Uhuru knows. Election rigging thrives in a weak competition. If an election is to be called today, I am convinced Ruto will not get the number of votes he got. The number of votes that Chebukati told us he got. He will not get those votes. He will run somewhere below the numbers. And I've been telling people who are founder members of the board, I've been repeating it. The most difficult election in Kenya is the election that comes at the end of first term. That election, if you do your research, it's been very challenging. And I want to give you the most easiest one. Look at, even start with Jomo Kenyatta. The first election, I think this one that was in, look at the 1961-69 one. It was chaotic. It was hectic. After the 1978 transition from Kenyatta to Moi, look at 1982, which was to be the first election. It became hectic. And that's why we even had a coup. Look at the 2007 general election after 1 year, first term after Kibaki. What happened? Look at the 2013, the one that happened in 2017. An election was even thrown out because the court saw rigging. And Uhuru Kenyatta knows very well that if Ruto cannot win the vote in the ballot, the state will always attempt to rig. Now, that rigging can only thrive if you have a weak competition. Yes. It can be very easy. You know, if you defeat me with 100,000 and you rig, you can't get it. You can't go away with it. So Uhuru knows it. That Ruto ache kudanganya Raila hapa with this thing of electoral, I don't know, bring 2 members, put in that committee. No. Even if Raila is to go and pick his best friend to go to IBC commissioner, to go and pick to be member of the selection committee, the person that is going to be IBC chairman, William Ruto already knows. Uhuru has been in that power, and Ruto knows very well that Ruto is going to plant his person there. And you cannot get this issue of getting electoral body cannot be solved. You will get a team that is still inclined towards William Ruto. So what Uhuru is telling Raila Odinga is something that he should listen to. That it is very clear. What you need to do is mount a contest, gather more votes. That is what you should fight for. So that even if there is that state rigging, because Uhuru knows there have been state rigging when he was in power, start from 2013, 2017, all those elections have been petitioned. And there have been massive bribery claims, even on some of those changes. So that is something that Raila must take. Number 3, Uhuru knows very well that Ruto fears criticism and being exposed. I want to give you an example. Last weekend, not even last weekend, there have been stories about Kikuyu community being targeted in Lamu. And of course, you've seen leaders coming out even inciting the public in those areas. Even Kindiki was warning them that, you know what, we will go after those who are inciting people against other communities in Lamu. They've been so quiet about it. The president has been so quiet about it. Now, immediately, Jubilee Party, led by Jeremiah Kioni and Murade, went to Lamu and started talking to the Kikuyu community there. Ruto, the other day, invited Lamu leaders to State House to talk about the same. And even those Lamu leaders who are facing charges of incitement, those charges have been dropped. So, unaona, Ruto ni mwoga. Ruto ni mwoga. I want to tell you this other one. There is this expose about the oil deal. Where is Anjeri? She's quiet. She was supposed to appear without before parliament, did not happen. That was a case of some people, you know, that deal until mtu akaenda kapotea na yeye, she disappeared, then came back, that dossier. That lady never appeared to issue any statement about it. Your story fulikwa. Ruto fears being exposed. And Uhuru knows very well that those in government are the ones that are going to feed the opposition. So when Raila maintains that line, he will still have his way. Number 3, there is something that Uhuru knows. Uhuru knows very well that Ruto is grounded by Kenya's debt profile. And if he's been complaining, you know, we are supposed to pay Eurobond in June next year. And now the government has started crying over that. That the Eurobond that we're supposed to pay in June next year is what has been at the center of the outcry now. So let me tell you, June, we have that 300 billion, I think dollars, US dollars, Eurobond. So that was the last Eurobond that was taken in 2024. Kenya, I think I was reading somewhere that Kenya is trying to, getting up to pick another Eurobond. Now, next year, 2020, that is 2024, I was reading that article, it's in the Kenyans.co, that in 2027, we have another loans facility of more than, bigger than that, bigger than the Eurobond, 512 billion US dollars that we are also going to pay in 2027. So within the first term of William Ruto is where quite big loans are going to mature. Within the next 5 years, just go and Google that article. It's actually in the Kenyans.co on how loans are going to squander William Ruto's first term. So those huge loan facilities are going to bring us, is going to ground William Ruto, and it does not have a track record. Those are the things that Uhuru Kenyatta knows. And you know, you can see Ruto has been campaigning and just keep on saying mark timing. I have agreed, we have said, we are going to do it, we have sat down, we have tried doing that, we have been doing this. It's just a matter of excuses one after the other, just using different words to explain an excuse. And that is why I believe what Uhuru Kenyatta is saying. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my most passionate analysis in this month of December. Kindly, let's share this with Raila. Raila should not miss this last shot because Ruto anaweza shindwa. And I don't know why he will be taken into even accepting to dance on William Ruto's tune, because there is something that Ruto knows. The masses are already with Raila. The masses are already with the opposition. So what Ruto wants is just to take you away from the masses. Just as simple as that. Just as simple as that. I'll explain today at some point why we need to think about that first. Thank you.